All right, guys, the latest bracket update for the NCAA tournament next month has been released. So today we're going to be taking a look at that, breaking it down a little bit, previewing it, and giving you some of my picks and predictions for who could make the Final Four out of each and every region. So with that being said, let's go ahead and dive right into it. We'll start off in the East, okay? So this is going to be the number one overall seed. This is Uconn. Probably, unless a lot changes, going to be actually the number one overall seed come Selection Sunday. But you've got Uconn, number one, versus North Dakota, Norfolk State, playing game at 16. You've got a pretty good 8-9 matchup there of TCU versus New Mexico. Number 5, Dayton versus 12, South Florida. Now, that's a really good matchup. 4, Illinois, 13, App State, 6, BYU, 11, Indiana State, 3, Alabama, 14, Louisiana Tech, 7, St. Mary's, 10, Ole Miss, 2, Kansas, 15, Colgate. All right, so let's break this down a little bit. Uconn, obviously the favorite here. Have had a really good season, champs last year, and looked pretty good at the moment. I know they lost to Creighton the other day, but have looked pretty good. That 8-9 matchup, I would probably say New Mexico there. At the moment, I would say they probably look better to me when I watch both those teams play. But that 5-12 matchup right there, Dayton, South Florida, that is a good matchup. Both those teams have been playing really good this year. South Florida at the moment, the leader in the American Conference. They're currently leading the standings. Beat FAU the other day. Dayton has some quality wins, fighting for a top 16 spot. For Illinois, really good team to watch out for. They can put up some points. They've got two guys, Shannon and Coleman Hawkins, that can really go, and they can get you 30 a night at any given moment in the tournament. So Illinois, I wouldn't want to play them come tournament time. BYU, top 25 team, kind of headed in the wrong direction at the moment versus Indiana State. Similar situation. They cracked the top 25. Kind of been dropping down. They've almost made it to where they might have to be an automatic qualifier to get in. I don't think they can get in that large bid. Alabama, they've looked really good. They can go off offensively, but they can also get cold at times and then get dipped by Louisiana Tech, for example. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. St. Mary's, another sleeper for me. All right, I've got two sleepers in this bracket. Actually, this is a tough bracket for Uconn, in my opinion. If you are the one overall seed, drawing in Illinois, drawing in St. Mary's, which are not necessarily highly ranked, but could beat anybody. And then Alabama offensively can go off too. Then you got Kansas, obviously, at the bottom at number 2. Kansas can get to the Final Four at any given time too. They've got multiple dudes that can really get after it. Final Four-wise, I would think realistic candidates out of this that could make the Final Four, probably Uconn, Illinois, and I'm going to say St. Mary's and Kansas. I don't think Alabama is a serious Final Four threat at the moment. But breaking it down a little more, I would not be surprised if St. Mary's dips Kansas in the second round there, preventing Kansas from getting to the second weekend. And then that Illinois matchup versus Dayton or South Florida, that's going to be a really good game right there. And wouldn't be shocked if South Florida or Dayton goes on a little run there to play Uconn. But ultimately, though, Uconn probably going to escape out of this, but don't be surprised, like I said, if St. Mary's can make a run in this. That would be my sleeper out of here. All right, so moving over to the right, we've got the Midwest. All right, so this is the number 2-1 seed. You got Houston versus Southern University, Colorado State, Nebraska at 8-9. Now, that's a really good matchup there. Colorado State has some really good wins. Nebraska, not quite Alabama level, but similar, that they can really go off offensively if at any given moment. You know, I mean, they can just start raining threes on you at any time. So that's a really intriguing matchup for me. I don't think either one of them can beat Houston, but Colorado State, Houston would be a good matchup, I think. All right, then that 5-12, Kentucky versus McNeese State. McNeese State head coach Will Wade, you remember him from LSU when they were pretty good. Got fired for recruiting issues, but he's back. All right, McNeese State really actually pushing a 31 season here. And Kentucky, they're talented enough to beat anybody, but they've also kind of been up and down at certain points this year. Number 4, Creighton, 13, Akron. Creighton, another team similar to St. Mary's and Illinois that I think can really beat anybody. I wouldn't want to play Creighton. Texas Tech, Nevada. Number 3, Duke. All right, Duke, another team similar to Kentucky, kind of up and down at certain points this year, but they do have the talent with Tyrese Proctor, among others, that can really go and probably beat anybody at any moment. I think Proctor is the key, though. All right, as he goes, that team goes. I know he's not going to be the number 1 draft pick or anything, but he's talented as anybody. If you've got a guard that can go off, you can beat anybody in the tournament. I would watch out for Duke. All right, Northwestern, Texas. Northwestern, similar situation. I wouldn't want to play Northwestern. They've got Boo Buie. He can really go off at any moment, drop you 30 points, all-time leading scorer at Northwestern. Texas hasn't looked very good this year, so I'd probably say Northwestern wins that one easy. But that Northwestern-Tennessee matchup there would be a really good matchup. All right, so breaking it down a little more here, let's see, Elite Eight, Sweet 16 wise, I would say Houston and Creighton up top. And then at the bottom, I would say Duke and Tennessee. But don't be surprised if Northwestern beats Tennessee, actually, to be honest with you. Final Four wise, I'm going to probably say Houston at the moment, but don't be surprised if Creighton dips Houston. But Duke, Tennessee, Creighton, this is a really tough matchup for Houston, actually. Really tough region. All right, moving down to the bottom right, so it's going to be your third number 1 seed. All right, in the South, we've got Purdue as the 1. All right, that 8-9 matchup right there, really good matchup in my opinion. Washington State versus FAU. Florida Atlantic, we know, made that nice run last year. Washington State at the moment leading the Pac-12, beat Arizona the other day. Washington State's legit, I think. But that 8-9 matchup, that's a juicy one. We'll get to that in a minute, though. Clemson, Auburn, don't really worry me too much. I wouldn't be surprised if both of them got dipped by the Samford and Yale there. Utah State versus A&M or Gonzaga. Gonzaga, if they can get in, I wouldn't want to play them. All right, I know they've kind of been up and down this year. Haven't had the best season by Gonzaga standards, but they've got Nembhard. And like I said earlier with Duke, if you have a guard, that's going to help you come March. And I wouldn't want to play Gonzaga. Iowa State, really good team at the moment. All right, fighting for that top spot in the Big 12. And if they went out, they could end up being a 2 seed. But at the moment, it looks like they're the 3 here. Florida, probably going to get in as maybe a 7-ish. They've done pretty good this year in the SEC. But North Carolina, probably the team to beat in the bottom. All right, so breaking down a little more, Purdue going to get the win. But Washington State FAU is going to be a really good matchup for Purdue. And really, Purdue, if they can win that game, I think they've got an easy Sweet 16 matchup. It'll probably be Auburn, maybe, like I said, but don't be surprised if Auburn gets upset by Yale there. We saw a few years ago Auburn go deep, and kind of make a little run. But I think Purdue has a nice matchup there. I know they've gotten dipped before the first weekend is over the past 2 years. But if they can beat that second-round matchup or third round, whatever it is now, Washington State versus FAU, if they can beat that winner, I think they'll be in good shape. At the bottom, all right, I'd say Gonzaga probably wins and gets in, beats Utah State. Iowa State or North Carolina, though, that is going to be a nice Sweet 16 matchup between Iowa State and North Carolina. Both those teams, I think, can beat Purdue, and I think North Carolina ultimately will beat Iowa State and then beat Purdue. All right, then going over to the last one. All right, so this is your last number 1 seed, Arizona. All right, so you got Arizona versus Quinnipiac. All right, Arizona, if they can win that one, pretty good matchup, I'd say, in the 8-9 game. They should be able to beat the winner of that game. Virginia's defense travels. I haven't been too impressed with Oklahoma, but Virginia hasn't been very impressive either. Arizona actually got a pretty good bracket here from what I'm looking at. 5 Wisconsin. The way they've been playing, they'll probably lose to Grand Canyon. San Diego State. Now, that's a team I wouldn't want to play if they get in. They're going to get in, obviously, but I'm saying if you play them, I wouldn't want to play them. South Carolina kind of headed downhill. Cincinnati and Seton Hall. Cincinnati may get in. They may not. Seton Hall actually has some impressive wins, but some really weird losses too. Baylor, I wouldn't be too worried about. Michigan State. Now, that's a team I wouldn't want to play if they end up making a run in March. And then you got Marquette. All right, so breaking this one down. All right, Sweet 16-wise, I would say Arizona is going to advance and play San Diego State probably. And then the bottom half, I'm going to say Seton Hall is going to advance all the way to the Sweet 16 to play Michigan State. And then a Elite Eight matchup of Michigan State and Arizona with Michigan State getting that win. So breaking it back down. All right, let me zoom back out so you can see everything. I know it's pretty small, guys, but bear with me. So in the West region, all right, like I said, I've got Michigan State going. South, Final Four, I've got North Carolina. In the Midwest, at the moment, I've got Houston, but don't be surprised if Creighton, Duke, or Tennessee, or even Northwestern give them a run there. And then in the East, most likely Uconn, but don't be surprised probably if I'm going to say Kansas or St. Mary's. I think the winner of that one is in the Elite Eight, not the Final Four. But I think that winner of St. Mary's and Kansas in the second round ultimately play Uconn. But, guys, let me know your thoughts down in the comments section. Let me know your predictions. If this is the bracket, it's not going to be, but if this was the bracket at the moment, who's making the Final Four out of each region? Do me a favor, let me know. If you got any questions or anything, also ask them down in the comment section. I'll discuss them with you. But let me know your thoughts on this bracket down in the comment section. Comment down below. Make sure to like this video. Most importantly, subscribe.